at the ProveIt Conference, one of the conditions for the vendors who were exhibiting there was to provide transparency into their pricing. And I know I've heard that some vendors didn't feel very comfortable with that. But what we're doing here with the chatbot that our company is providing is we're saying, look, you got the base package for $5,000 a year, which is just the technology itself. If you have the people that can configure it and deal with it, sure, use your people. If you want production support, we can provide you production support. So if it's 24/7 production support, and I know a lot of factories these days run 24/7 or 24/5, and they love that kind of support because nobody wants to be waking up in the middle of the night and trying to figure things out. So if you want that kind of production support where we give our phone number to your people in your control room or wherever on the shop floor, that is $20,000 a year. You can totally afford that. I know many of you manufacturers seeing this, you can totally afford that. Now, if you don't want it and you want your own people to take care of that and you want basic support, then it's heavily discounted. It's less than half of that 20 grand, and we can provide more detail depending on 2 different base packages, but nothing significant to worry about. Then you have the large language model subscription costs. Again, in February, I used over 57 million tokens with OpenAI, and my bill is less than $100. So with all the testing, with all the rigorous use, this is not something crazy, okay? You will be okay, even though there is a component to it that scares people because it's variable cost. You're better off just subscribing on your own, either through OpenAI directly or through Azure, or you subscribe to Anthropic Claude, or you subscribe to Google Gemini, and then you bring your own endpoint with your own API keys. We will use that, and then you will not get hit with crazy costs from these companies anymore. They're all competing with each other, and the costs are going down. All right, so that's the large language model subscription. The final component is integration. So usually we like to do it in sprints with the agile methodology. And so you can start small, see that you're getting a lot of value, and then go with incremental sprints. And so what we're saying is you should expect 20 to 30,000 if you have a nice sizable chunk of work for integration. The base package itself is quick to install, but then you got to think, okay, you need a partner to sit down with your people, walk them through the different use cases so that they provide the necessary information that needs to be loaded into this technology. And I am talking about all the documentation, the dictionary of terms, the general understanding of how all the data flows. So that's there. Overall, this is not gonna break your bank. This is not hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment. So that's what I wanted the plant managers to take away about the cost of this thing.
So I'm a plant manager and I'm listening to you. And what I'm thinking is that, hey, we have a manufacturing execution system running at the plant. Wouldn't it be logical that whoever provides that technology would just put a chatbot on top of that, since they already handle all the data and the sensors and whatnot in the factory? So why don't I just wait until they give me that technology?
It's your choice. However, this technology already exists today, and you might be waiting for a long time because the big providers of these systems are never as quick as the smaller companies that are nimble and are able to provide this. So technically, you would be losing opportunity to your competitors. Now, it's important to say that this technology, the way we worked with it and the way we presented it at ProveIt Conference, can actually work with different MES systems, with ERP systems, SCADA systems, LIMS, lab information management systems. It can work with different systems. The integration is easy with one caveat, which is it makes me excited that you brought this up, because the caveat is the unified namespace. So if the systems publish to the unified namespace, then it's already there and it's automatically integrated with the chatbot. And of course, some of the plant managers might not be familiar with what unified namespace is. So it's an architecture where you are sending all your real-time data to a middle broker that collects all that information and manages access to it. And then the other systems can publish or subscribe to changes in that ecosystem. And that's the way of the future, by the way, for interfaces between systems also. So a lot of Industry 3.0 companies have point-to-point interfaces between systems. But now if you think that you have a broker in the middle that has all this information, then your MES system, whichever MES system you have right now, just needs to publish its data to the unified namespace. Then from the unified namespace, you can create dashboards, you can feed other systems, but the AI chatbots will also pick it up there. And so if you don't have a unified namespace right now, it's your perfect opportunity to partner with somebody that can actually install it for you and educate your people on all the benefits of this. So I know that we would be happy to work with some of the customers locally in the US on the unified namespace, but depending on the size and complexities, there may be other partners of ours who we can recommend that can help out. And in other countries, like in Latin America, we have partners that we can recommend that can help you deal with this. So this doesn't have to be a one specific company installs unified namespace for me. No, there are many people who can do this. But once you have it, you can now have all these sources of information, all these systems feeding into it and feeding from it. And that's where the magic happens, because unified namespace will contextualize and prepare all this data that is necessary for AI to understand. But it's also, if you want to try to picture this, like what does it look like? Data in the unified namespace basically gives you a cross-section of everything that's going on at your plant in real time right now. And it changes all the time. So that's why you attach a historian to it. And the historian historizes the unified namespace data. And then the chatbots, they can chat with everything in real time, plus whatever is in the historian, and you win. That's all that you need. It can be your own old MES system, as long as you get that guy named Joe to program that MES system to send data to the unified namespace. That's all you'll ever need.